guys, welcome to another episode of Tea Time Treats. As always, if you've not already, please hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon down below. Drop me a comment in the box if you fancy it. Give me a thumbs up. It all helps this wondrous world of YouTube. If you're anything like me as a guitar player, you've probably had a pedal board the size of the Starship Enterprise. Every overdrive known to man, every delay pedal, every modulation pedal, and you can guarantee you get to a gig and there's always a problem. There's a dodgy cable somewhere, or a pedal stops working, or something like that. And I had all those pedals on my board, on my old board, and 9 times out of 10 I probably used 2. So I use single channel amps, and I tend to keep an overdrive on pretty much all the time and use a volume control on my guitar to roll down for cleans. And I've got a boost for solos, for leads. So what I decided to do was keep it simple. So I redesigned my pedal board a couple of months ago, made it small to fit in my flight case with all my cables. So it's one lift out of the car for cables and pedal boards instead of a big box full of cables, massive pedal board, flight case, and so on. Everything's nice and compact. So here it is. Here's my new compact gigging pedal board. Okay, so the aim of this board was to try and make it as small as possible to fit into my flight case. So I've got a few mini pedals on there. They're not mega expensive ones, they're quite cheap ones that I picked up off eBay. But they work, they've been reliable so far, so I'm quite happy and they sound nice. There are also 3 or 4 of my own brand NGS custom pedals on there, so please check out that link down below in the description. As far as pedal order goes, it goes tuner first, into a mini compressor, into my old wah that I've had for years, into a NGS custom Zen Drive clone, then into a dual overdrive with one side of the overdrive being more of a Marshall-y type sound, and the other side being more of a light gain. So if I was just using an amp with an effects loop, that would be the front of the amp, and then through the effects loop of an amp there would be a mini chorus into a dual delay pedal. So this is a delay pedal I built myself as well. One side is set more like a slapback, the other side is a little bit longer. You can use them independently or you can stack them so you can get some nice sort of soundscapes with delay. And then finally there's another boost. So one of the amps that I use is a Marshall Vintage Modern, and I found that you can't use an ordinary boost pedal to boost your signal for solos. So I developed this pedal I've called an unboost, which basically cuts your level, your volume level, while still keeping your tone and all the dynamics and everything. So you basically crank up your amp to your solo volume, and then you dial back the unboost for your rhythm volume, and then when you switch the pedal off, it bypasses the pedal and goes back to your full volume of your amp. There's also a little mini toggle switch on there for a normal boost pedal built in for when I'm using amps that don't have that problem. Okay, so the reason why I've got 3 overdrives on there is because I use single channel amps, and like I said earlier, I tend to just use one overdrive and keep it on all the time. But I've got 3 for 3 different flavours, so if I'm playing something quite heavy I can kind of stack a medium and a lighter gain to get more saturation, or if I'm just wanting a light crunch, I've got the option there. But 9 times out of 10 I'll just keep on the side of my dual overdrive that's a little bit of a Marshall type flavour, and just roll the volume back on the guitar. The pedals are there just in case, but it's still quite a simple setup. I'm not into setting up patches for this and patches for that and tweaking and twiddling presets. That's not my sort of style at all. I like a setup where I can just take my board out of the case, put it on the floor, plug a cable into an amp, and away I go. A couple of utility features that I built into this pedal board are the in and out patch bays on the underneath of the board. So I run usually a Line 6 wireless unit, and if I don't run the wireless unit, I obviously run a cable. So underneath the input side of the board is a patch bay with some switched jacks, so that the wireless is always connected to the board, but if I plug a normal jack cable into one of the inputs, it bypasses the wireless and goes straight through the board. On the other side of the board, on the output side of the board, I've got a send and return jack and a straight to amp jack. So if I'm using an amp with an effects loop, I can run through the send and return, or if I'm using an amp without an effects loop, I just plug into the return output of the jack and it bypasses the effects loop circuit in the patch bay. I've also got under there a buffer, just in case I experience any signal loss with any long cables. 9 times out of 10 that's left on. I just like the little bit of a sparkle that it gives a tone as well. On the top of the pedal board that I've missed off earlier, there's a effects switcher for my amps that feature reverb and tremolo. Right, a little bit about power supplies as well. So in the past I've used all sorts of power supplies. I always thought a power supply was a power supply. It just powers your pedals and that's it. And I think most people do kind of think along those lines to start with. And I've used many sort of cheaper brand power supplies, and they've got the job done, but in some clubs and venues you start getting a lot of buzz and hum, stuff like that. So I found that Mosky have started doing some fully isolated power supplies. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try one of those. And they're not mega expensive, but it gets the job done. It's probably the best power supply for the least amount of money I've ever spent. I'm really happy with that so far, so I recommend one of those. Gets the job done, nice clean power, no problems whatsoever. As far as patch cables on this board, I'm using the Warwick Rockboard solderless cable kits. They're so easy to use. I've used solderless cables before where they don't make a good connection. They're a real pain to put together, and there's always one that goes a little bit dodgy and doesn't work properly. But I've never had a problem with a Warwick patch cables, so I really recommend those as well. Okay, thanks for watching the Tea Time Treats, guys. I'm going to run through a few sound samples for you from my board, mainly just the overdrives for the different sort of flavours. The setup is going to be my usual Blues Junior, and then guitar into pedalboard.